Okay, hello and welcome to EDZ Radio Episode 2. Yeah, that's right, we made it past the first episode. I'm your main host here now, Mr. Jazz, or of Mr. Jazz Gaming. And when I'm talking about the European Dead Zone, I'm not talking about a post-Brexit Britain, but I am talking about the main patrol area in the new Destiny 2 game, which is coming very, very soon. Well, one person who is living in a post-Brexit Britain is my co-host and close friend, Liam, aka Bring the Pain.
Hello everyone. Yes, I am in the European Dead Zone, or soon to be the European Dead Zone.
Last but by no means least is my fellow countryman and other good friend, Jason, aka War Mage. How are you, Jay?
Good, thanks. And just like you, Jazz, I'm loving all our European brethren.
Right, so let's get straight back into it, get straight into the conversation. It's been a long week. We're recording a little bit late on Monday here this week, and there's been a lot of new news that's come out in the last week. The last Destiny, the word's skipping my mind now, the last Destiny this week at Bungie, TWAB, gave us some news on the PC release date as well as the beta release date of the 28th of August. So at the time of this recording, it's just 21 days away. I think that in conjunction with the really kind of fair and accessible PC stats that they released last week makes it a very, very exciting month for us. I know you guys, I know Liam, you're not really a huge big PC head at this moment in time, but Jason, you've got a pretty good laptop. Are you tempted to give the beta a go on PC?
Yeah, I will. I'll give it a go. I'll see what it's like. I was actually pleasantly surprised when those specs came out, because I actually didn't think, even though this laptop I have is fairly new, I didn't think it would run it at any kind of decent level of spec, but when the minimum specs came out, I was very pleasantly surprised. They seem to be very generous with those specs.
Yeah, they're really, really nice.
So yeah, no, I'll give it a go. I'm looking forward to it. I've been only 3 weeks away.
Yeah, only just 3 weeks away. Yeah, I saw there was a video put out there by Briar Rabbit during the week where he priced the minimum spec PC, and he priced it at only $400. I mean, that's a lower price than a PS4 Pro or I think it's a lower price than the PS4 Pro. I could be wrong there. It's certainly a lower price than the new Xbox One X. Do you think that this makes it more accessible to a wider audience, and that it would encourage some more people to maybe make the jump over to the PC version?
I think if they've already got a PC and they game on it, it probably will be like, oh yeah, I've got a PC that can run it. Whereas if you've already got a console, it's not just cost, it's space. You know, you need a good area to have a PC. Playing on a small little desk or in a corner is not the right way to experience it. I think a lot more people will stay on console. I think it will be console main. I don't think the PC population is going to overtake either of the consoles. But I think they will get a good portion of the PC community that they wanted to get into Destiny.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the only thing with that, Liam, and I do agree with you, I do think it will be console. The only thing I think that would make it become a much bigger game on PC is if the competitive scene takes off on PC. If that takes off on PC, then I can see it being a very, very popular game.
Yeah, and with most esports, residing on the PC side of things, it seems like the perfect place for it to suddenly branch into that kind of market and that kind of place. At the weekend I was only just watching the Overwatch World Cup and the qualifiers, and again that's on console and PC, but there's no mention of it when it comes to the Pro League. It's completely on PC, and it looks oh God, those guys play that game at a level that I know I will never ever dream of even getting close to, but it's exciting to see it, and it's good to watch it. And I know this game has been built for its PvP elements from the ground up, and you could say that Destiny is a PvE game first with PvP on it. But I still think that there's an interest in it becoming, that level of game. And now, now with it being in conjunction with Blizzard, are we likely to see a Destiny tournament at BlizzCon? Could we see something like that?
I hope so.
I think the first part call, you've got to have private matchmaking. You can't really have a competitive scene without any kind of private playlist that you can set up. Otherwise, it's too hard to organise.
Yeah.
Unless it's closed. I don't know. It's not even possible to have a closed network with Destiny running on.
No, it's not. No, they'd have to have private matches. They'd need to have a spectator mode as well. When you look at the spectator mode in Overwatch, it's done brilliantly, and it gives you so much more information than the individual players have, which makes it a much more easier game to watch. And I think they need to start doing things like that. But we don't know if that's really Bungie's end game, if that's their goals.
I think it's on their radar, but it's not one of their first focuses at the moment. They've not really kind of hinted in any massive aspect that's the path they'll be going down. But I think if it naturally develops, Jason's right. If it does start to get a heavy following on the PC, I'm sure they're investing in it.
Yeah. And on that, we're getting a new map for the PC beta. That's going to be interesting to see. It looks like they're already acting on some of the complaints that we had about the console beta, in that the grenades are going to spawn a little bit quicker, and you're going to get more heavy ammo in the PvE side of it. I wonder if they had made those fixes even before they got the feedback, if I'm honest with you. But the new map will be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think they had. I think I saw a few comments from some of the developers where they were saying that they'd been playing different versions at home, different dev versions, and they didn't even realize some of the things that the community was complaining about, because they'd already fixed those things. So I think my impression of a lot of the guys is that they do play this game quite a lot themselves at home. So these guys know what we want and what we don't want, because at the end of the day they're part of the community too.
I think it's an exciting time. I can't wait to see it. I really, really can. I'm really looking forward to this PC release on the 28th. I'm looking forward to seeing how good it looks at its highest settings. And at how many frames can we get out of a game like this that's this well optimized? It could be a really, really nice version. I hope it doesn't suck. I hope it's not plagued with bugs, and it's not plagued with hacks like we saw with games like The Division. But it does sound like, another thing they said in the TWAB, that they're limiting some of the ways that you can capture game footage to help improve security. So it does sound like they're taking that serious.
Yeah, and the big positive for me with that, Jazz, is that they're putting this out in the open, and they're being very upfront about it. Mm-hmm. They're not hiding things, or they're not just, it's not something that's, we're looking after, there'll be security measures. They're proactively saying that they're going to be taking a lot of very heavy measures, and I know I saw some streamers giving out about that this will affect them, and it's really the benefit of the 99% of the community rather than the 1 small percent to this will affect, and I'm not a streamer, I'm not a footage capturer, so I don't know, but my understanding is that there's tons of other ways you can still capture footage. So.
Oh yeah. Anybody that has an NVIDIA card, a relatively up-to-date NVIDIA card, has a mode in it called Shadowplay, and with the Shadowplay you can broadcast directly from that. It's super simple. It's as simple as broadcasting from your console, and that doesn't have any of these issues. It's not restricted by this. So and that's just one of doing it directly off of this PC, the same PC that you might be playing the game on. If you have a 2 PC setup like a lot of the high-end streamers have, or you've got a capture card, then you've got no issues. The only, as I understand it, the only limitations are it stops you capturing the information before it's rendered on the screen. Some applications use that information before it gets rendered on the screen in order to create their own footage and capture their own footage, but also to, say, augment the game and give you overlays or additional details. They're not going to let you do any of that, because that's also the tool set that the hackers use to capture the gameplay information before it even gets to the screen, and then modify it and give you aimbots and things like that. So I think it's a really positive thing. I don't think it's going to limit any of the major streamers. And I think, those of us streaming from single platforms, single PC setups, I mean, if they're going to be playing this game, they're most likely going to have a decent rig or a decent setup, and anyone with a relatively decent setup is going to have no problems doing it, I would have thought.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's like with any release. I mean, I think it more so apparent on a PC is it's got to be bug free, but it can't be a bad release. It will. If it gets a bad reception on PC, it will struggle to recover.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's good that they're putting all this anti-cheating software, is it, or however you want to define it, to stop that. But as long as it doesn't come any additional restrictions, and because it's going to be taking more processing for that to be running to stop people using it. So, I mean, PCs are all differently rigged. So, you just want, if you got a PC, you want to install it and it run and not have to fiddle around with it for several hours just to try. And even then, it doesn't run perfectly.
Yeah,
that's what they need to avoid.
Yeah, and PCs. I mean, the PC market still hasn't changed in that regard. You have to have your setup set up right. You can have all kinds of problems with PCs, and I think some console players who come from consoles to PCs for games like Destiny 2 are gonna find some difficulties with it. They're gonna see the problems of like Windows crashing and Windows causing issues and driver setup and things like that, and that can be very frustrating if you're coming from a console environment where it's literally just click and play and enjoy the game, and at most you might get a patch on your console and your Xbox every few months, or on your PlayStation every few months, but you don't really have any of those difficulties that the PC gamers just take for granted. They're quite used to it. So that stuff it still has to be. I'm really surprised that it hasn't been fixed by the likes of Microsoft. It certainly got better, but there's still those kind of issues that you see all the time. And I've been using PCs all my life, and I still see those issues, and it's very frustrating, for a gamer.
It's just very hard to cut that out without having a closed system. Say like Apple with their products. It's very hard. You have to make it open to basically any third party that wants to make anything, an app, a driver, or a piece of hardware that connects into your system. It's just so hard to keep all that straight. And I had some major difficulties with mine a couple of months ago. I think it took me the bones of, it took 2 months just trying to get it fixed.
Oh my God.
And then you have things like the Windows 10 update that forces you to update unless you dig down into the settings and turn it off at right at there's a router way you can turn it off and stuff. It's very frustrating, and it can be very, look, that's why a console is so much just press the button, turn it on, play, and as long as the Xbox Live network isn't down or the PlayStation Play network isn't down, you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's fiddly PC gaming. Sometimes it just doesn't work, and it doesn't tell you why it doesn't work. I remember I used to have a pair of ATI Crossfire. I ran all the tests, and it seemed to work fine. And but I ended up taking one out and run a load of performance tests, and it didn't say that the card was malfunctioning. It just said it was not running efficiently, essentially. So it wasn't until I took it into a shop they said, yeah, this card's buggered. That's why it's not working. So there was no real way to know it. This is your problem. You need to install this update. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a bit of guesswork, and
totally.
Then eventually going into a shop and paying them to fix it.
Yeah.
So it's why PC gaming is a little bit what they deem more hardcore gaming.
Yeah, agree. But it is becoming more accessible, and as we saw, this price range is kind of showing that, and it does seem like the guys at Bungie are taking it very seriously. I mean, they even have that deal with Razer, where they're bringing out all of the Bungie and Destiny branded hardware to go with it. So we've new mice and new keyboards and new headphones. Is this a sign of their intent, do we think?
It's just marketing, really. I mean, I think the mouse is pretty good, but I don't think the headphones. I'm not sure. Man of Wars, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have all that theme stuff, but I think you can get better value for money elsewhere, as long as you don't want to just have. If you want just a Destiny themed desktop, then yeah, it looked great. But then if you're more a functionality gamer and you want the best experience, possibly go within a budget range. I think there's better options out there.
Probably so. Yeah, probably so.
And the other side too is, I mean, if you already have a fairly decent gaming rig, the likelihood is you already have a fairly decent mouse and keyboard and other hardware setup. So, are you really gonna splash out extra money for a mouse with a decal of Destiny splashed on the front?
No, absolutely not. I'd rather have my 12 buttons stuck on the side of my mouse than a Destiny sticker on the top. That's what I'm looking for. But look, this idea of marketing, this topic of marketing, it brings us onto a couple of the other points that I wanted to talk about today. The first being, we talked about it a little bit last week, and that was Cold Heart, this new trace rifle that's coming to the game. But what I was surprised was afterwards, after looking at what the community thought of it and some of the content creators thought about it, a lot of them were a couple of them were complaining, like Bife and Data were pretty much showing concerns that they felt that this was crossing the line of pay to win because of the fact that you get this gun, it's an exotic weapon, and you get it if you pre-order, and if you don't pre-order, you don't get this gun until sometime in December. November, is it? November?
No, December. December the 5th.
December, yeah. So does that constitute as pay to win? For me, I don't really feel like it does, but what do you guys think?
Pay to win? I don't think so. I guess it's a pre-order bonus, right? And look, as the Activision call, the earnings call was on last week, where they talked about how the Destiny 2 pre-order numbers were now higher than the Destiny 1 pre-order numbers. So it's not like 1 in 5 people are going to have this. Pretty much, I would say 85-90% of the people on day one of the D2 launch are going to have this, because let's be face it, like most people who have played Destiny 1 will probably have already pre-ordered for Destiny 2, and then it's pay to win until December, and at that we don't even know if the gun is anyway good or not. It could turn out to be absolutely rubbish.
Mm-hmm. And then, okay, just carrying on that, they had this new deal they've done with the Rockstar Energy drink, which gives you some bonus XP boosts like we had before with Red Bull, but also can give you engrams that you can.
I don't think they've confirmed the XP boost, have they?
I thought they did.
I think it's just.
Is it just the engrams?
I just thought it was the engrams.
Well, it's the engrams is the part that I think is contentious. Does that constitute pay to win? The fact that you can buy a truckload of engrams? Well, actually, that's not true. It's not a truckload, is it? It's a maximum of 4 per week, I believe.
Depends on what they are. Again, if it's something which isn't it more likely to be a skin over a weapon or an existing weapon type that just has? I mean, are you just going to have a load of Rockstar emblems over you?
I hope not. I really do hope not.
I mean, it would look really weird in the world of Destiny.
Yeah.
To have that there. It depends on what it is. You have to see it. As long as it's not going to, like you say, give you an advantage at the end of the day. You end up getting an advantage by buying that, then it becomes pay to win. Because a lot of the time we didn't have access in the UK to a lot of those cans, so you kind of had to get some offline, the codes offline to be using them. Mm-hmm. So is it going to restrict like certain areas to not having those codes? I mean, last time what was it? It was pre-order, not the pre-order.
It was the Red Bull, and you got an XP boost. I think it was 25 minutes of double XP or something like that.
You also got Sparrow if you did that
that's right,
quest as well.
That's right. Yeah.
You had to do the speed quest.
Yeah.
Energy building event.
Well, the only thing with the XP boost, right, and it's the only thing that I kind of thought of that may make it pay to win, is that if you get your hands on 10 or 20 of those codes, and that could bump you up to the whatever, say the top light level is in D2 faster. That means you have, if you're a hardcore team that you are going for world first for the raids, that could give you a couple hours advantage over someone else in gearing up and getting better gear. Now I don't know if they're limiting the number of codes you can use per character, but yeah, I mean it's a bit like if they're only small things, if it's only for like 25 minutes, Jazz, like you said, then look, it's a marketing tool, so I'm not gonna sit here and kind of go, no, it's pay to win, they can't do this. I mean, they're just trying to get the brand out and trying to get the name out. I mean, they have a game to launch and a game to sell.
Yeah, if it saves you an hour to max light level, 2 hours even to max light level, is that really going to make a huge difference at your end game at the end of the day? Yeah, I suppose it could make an advantage if you're going for a world's first.
But again, it's 1% of people.
Yeah.
Talking of the 1% of gamers.
Yeah, exactly. They also have what else have they got that I see here? They have things like these fidget spinners that everyone seems to be talking about, and the Kill Tracker Ghost, which are again marketing exclusives, but this time I think exclusive to terrestrial stores, to GameStop. So you have to pre-order there to get these fidget spinners, which are really, I don't understand the excitement about them, if I'm honest with you. But
isn't that for you to use when you're waiting into loading Destiny 2 for day one,
yeah.
and you're 15,000 person in the queue, and then you get kicked?
Yeah. I don't get it. I just don't understand. I think it's something for kids, really. When I look at them, I just don't understand why people are so excited about them. But anyhow, the Kill Tracker Ghost, however, I do think is worth discussing because it allows you to track your performance both in PvP and PvE. And is that something that should be just a feature?
Well, yeah. I mean, this is what I don't know why. I mean, I think the Ghost just displays it on screen. But you should be able to access that. I mean, like with Destiny Tracker,
yeah,
track all your stats. I mean, it is an external website. But again, is it what Bungie are doing when you have to use an external website to get that data with like the old lore in the game? It just feels like it should be in the game, but I'm maybe it will be, and you just have to go to an additional screen in the background, or you can have this Ghost and it just shows you up on the screen. I mean, if Ghosts do other things, I mean, rather than just show kill tracking, maybe it's just not going to be worthwhile having.
It's a bit strange, though, if they can put in code to make your Ghost track it, but then they can't have a section in the menu where you can go in and check your stats. But you have to go to a third-party website to go on to and find out your stats and your KD, It's just a bit... It does feel like something that should be in-game, but... bit of a strange one, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's a weird one, but we don't really know exactly how it's going to work. But if it's really worth having, I think it is a strange one, and I don't know that many people. I mean, I know Game and GameStop are having huge kinds of problems financially at the moment because everyone's buying digital. I mean, either of you guys going to buy a digital copy of this game, or a physical copy of this game?
No. Yeah. I tell you, man, for the last 3 years, you have no idea how annoyed I am that I still have a digital copy of Destiny 1 that I still have to get up and put it into the drive.
I didn't realise you had a physical copy of D1 yet. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Destiny 1 came out, I bought the physical copy.
Yeah.
But then when I can't remember what expansion it was, but when the collector's edition expansion came out, and basically I had to rebuy all of Year 1 content, Dark Below and House of Wolves.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, I got rid of my physical copy.
Yeah.
I've just got it on my hard drive now.
Very good. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I think is going to really restrict the amount of people that will get access to something like that, because I just see so many people buying it online these days. All of my friends, I don't know anyone that buys these, especially a game like Destiny, where you're not gonna be finishing that game for at least 3 years. I
mean, I think physical copies are alright in some games, like you're going to trade it in.
Yeah.
And I haven't played many for a long time because I've got a catalogue of games I bought on sale. I've been playing Destiny. I've just never got around to playing them until recently. So it's. But if I was like, I did it with, I think pretty much all the Batmans on like Arkham ones. They came out. I pretty much smashed it with under a month, and then took it back into the store and then traded it in.
Because you're not going to play that game again. It's not a game you're going to continually play online. You know, I was like that with a lot of the Uncharteds. You know, I bought them all as physical copies because I knew as soon as I was finished it, that's it. I'm not going back to that. I'm playing that for the story. I'm playing that for the once through, and then that's the end of it. No interest in...
You might pick it up again if you see it on a sale. You go, oh, it's only £3-4 or something like that.
Yeah.
That was a good game. I might play through that again at one point, but going to buy another physical copy, you're not motivated to do it.
Another thing that we had this week was IGN did an AMA where they had a list of questions that they asked. There wasn't huge amounts of information that came into that, but one key part that jumped out to me was that the character is muted completely in D2, your character, so you never get the chance to speak or say anything. They're just kind of writing it out of the history books that the character ever spoke. Now, I know Bungie's approach to this is that they want to keep the avatar as nondescript as possible so that you can portray or, you know, project yourself into that avatar's existence. But do we think that this is an issue? That you will not hear your character speaking?
Oh, if there's enough story for the other characters to flesh out your universe, I don't think it could be a major issue. It'd just be a bit odd, you know, that you'd never say anything. Maybe just a grunt and nod a lot, you know. It's a bit weird, but I think you'll get past it, because at the end of the day, after the first playthrough after the first couple of playthroughs, you start skipping all those cutscenes anyway. You know, you're not interested in what your Guardian's saying. You're only interested in like what Shax is saying when you're playing PvP, or what your friends are saying when you're doing a raid. So that, I don't think when it comes to end game, it's not really an issue. But you know, if they're having dialogue and you think like your character should be saying something, then it's going to be a bit weird, because like you say, your character's not involved in the story, so it just feels like a lot of decisions are being made for you rather than you being part of that.
It's more your ghost that does all the speaking, really, isn't it? Which can sometimes be annoying because it doesn't feel like it's more almost his story than it is your story.
Well, it makes it a bit more linear too, you know.
Yeah.
It makes it more kind of, instead of I do think it almost has the opposite effect of, you know, trying to immerse yourself into the character. You've no choice, you've no decisions, you just face this thing where everyone else around you talks and makes decisions, and you just kind of sit there and go, oh wait, this is what we're doing now, and you go off and do something else, you know.
Yeah,
I think it has the opposite effect.
Look at that Anthem trailer that we saw. BioWare, looking like they're going back to their best, and right at the very start you see the character come out, meet somebody and have this dialogue with them. Doesn't that immerse you in the story just that little bit more?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So
you hear that you can't, if you import your character from D1, you can't customize it as well.
I heard that.
I think.
Like, why even do it? You know, why not just say, look, your character's dead, and now you get to make a new Guardian? You know, I think you said to us earlier on, well, before we were recording this show, that there was a rumor that your character dies, and your new character is following in his footsteps. He's, you know, following the legacy of your last hero, and I thought that could work. That would be brilliant, especially if they, you know,
like
you had a statue of your character in the tower or something like that. You know, that would be brilliant.
I mean, yeah, you were basically Praedyth, or you know, when in Destiny 1, when you found previous Guardians, that's what Destiny 2 would have been. Is when you came across that environment, it was your previous Guardian that you imported in. That legacy, you know, that what they had done, even though you knew what they'd done. I thought that was hope. I was hoping that's the route they were going to go down a little bit more. Thing that you could import your Destiny 1 character, but there was going to be a lot. Back then, there was a lot of unknowns about it.
So like now, basically, you can import a face that most people made 2 to 3 years ago on a character that's been wearing a helmet for the vast majority of the D2 or D1 campaign, and you don't get any of his gear. You might get a banner, to represent the fact that you played all the way through. You played 1,000 hours plus on Destiny 1, and that banner is most likely going to get thrown out within the first week of play as soon as you get something else that's newer and shinier. So you're not really getting a whole lot in the transfer over, are you?
Didn't they say that? I mean, that was one thing but they said there were other things that would also come in as well. There were other things. There wasn't just going to be a banner. There were going to be other things for legacy players. I mean, do you have to? The question is, do you have to import your character? Can you get that with not importing your character? Will it automatically register? They go, you played Destiny 1 on your Battle.net account.
Yeah,
I can recognise that. You don't need to import your character to redeem those bonus items.
That would be nice. That would be excellent. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I would love to, because they've said that they're not transferring over to the PC. So I would love to see that. That would be cool. But still, to be honest with you,
it's not really going to affect me because I'm happy with my hunter.
Yeah,
so I'm not changing it. Yeah.
I'm not bothered at all about the characters transferring over. I'm really not, because if this was World of Warcraft, right, where you're going from one expansion to the next and you couldn't transfer your character, I'd go crazy, because I would feel like everything that my character has is part of him. Everything that you've found, everything that all of the mounts that you've unlocked, all of the equivalent would be the bikes, the sparrows, the ships, all of those come with me, and they're part of his legacy. To lose all of that between expansions in a game like World of Warcraft would drive me nuts. But in this game, the way they're handling it doesn't really bother me. I have no concerns about starting a new character from scratch on day one. If I had to, even on console, never mind on PC.
Yeah, I have no problems with it either. Although my Guardian does look pretty cool, but other than that, no, it's fine. I mean, seriously, as you said, look, they've been hiding behind a helmet for the majority of the last 3 years. What difference does it really make?
Yeah.
I think the backlash comes from the original billing of what Destiny was. Because I think a lot of people thought it was going to be, myself included, more of a World of Warcraft. Yeah, so you would just basically been expansions. It wouldn't ever been a complete fresh slate to the game. It would have grown, and your inventory would have grown. So you could put all that armor on that you had picked up in year one, even though probably it's not effective at all, but you've still got it. And I think that's where the backlash has come from, is they kind of backpedaled in it, and now they're basically releasing a new game.
They are,
but with Destiny 2.
And I really don't mind that. I mean, your character is not defined by the design that you made for that character. He's usually defined by the gear that he's wearing and the weapons that he's using. I mean, you've played with me on this game since day one. What does my Titan look like?
Crap compared to my hunter.
Yeah, have you any idea?
Because he's a Titan.
Do you know what race he is? Do you know what his face looks like?
Human.
No, he's not
human.
He's not a human. No.
Not human?
He's not, no. And that you know what I mean? That's my point. That's my point. I've played him for 3 years with you, and you don't even know what race he is. Like that, it has no value. So I know a lot of people are going to be up in arms about it, but just if you really are that bothered by the character that you made 3 years ago, just delete him and make another one. Is the way I'd see it, because it's not like you're going to lose anything.
Yeah, your account progress will still be there, right? All your stuff will still be there. Like, let me clarify, all the stuff that is being brought over, like there's banners they're going to give you. You still have them on your account, so just delete the character if you're not happy with it.
Yeah. One other thing they did say in the AMA, which I thought was interesting, and that is that armor actually is going to have different minimum and maximum stats depending on its visualization. So a heavy piece of Titan armor will have a lot more recovery and armor on it than a piece of cloth that a warlock would wear, or hunter shoulders would have more agility in them and only have a maximum amount of recovery or armor that's a lot lower than the Titan equivalent armor. So as a result, you can look at a guy and you could see a guy in big bulky armor, and you'll know that guy has a lot of armor on, and he's got a lot of resilience, or he's got a lot of recovery, just by looking at the armor set that he's got. That sounds interesting to me, I thought.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Even just visually, I think it makes sense, to have it done that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point there about being able to tell if someone has high resilience, and I suppose it will kind of, when you're watching your death playbacks, you can see if, like, why didn't I kill that guy? Oh wait, no, he's got heavy armor on. That's probably why I couldn't get him.
So
there was another thing that about all, because there's quite a few exotics that I've been kind of announced. There seems to be. I was trying to count it the other day. So you had 3 in the beta. You've got Cold Heart. You've got what's the rocket launcher? Dubious Folly.
Yeah,
it's been announced. That's 5 already. Plus the PlayStation exclusive sniper rifle. 6. Seems to be a lot they've announced already. I'm sure there's going to be tons more, but how many exotic weapons are going to be in the game? We haven't seen any exotic armor, and that's probably where it's going to get more fun on your builds. But it just seems to be a lot of weapons they've announced. I think they could have got away with not telling us that.
I think they've kept their cards very close to their chest this time. I don't think we've seen very much of what we're going to see in this game at all, and I love that. I really love that. I want those surprises. I want the excitement of going, what the hell is this gun I just got, and what does it do?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you want to go, what the hell is this? Like that first week in Destiny 1 was selling Galahorn, and well,
I missed it.
No one knew what it was. Yeah.
Oh God, I was
I'm telling you, if anyone is selling anything for the first week, I'm just going to buy it. I'm just going to buy it and store it, and not make that mistake.
Speaking of which,
just one last thing actually on the Ask Me Anything was one of the comments around the HDR support for the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X.
It's not there.
So
is that right?
Yeah, so it's not going to be there at launch, which I found interesting. But actually, sorry, what I found interesting was that they very much want to see it arrive sometime post-launch. Now, they didn't mention a date, but it is interesting that they have said that they are looking at it for something to arrive post-launch. So, and for the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. So that's pretty positive.
I've heard also that they're pushing up for the One X to be a uncheckerboarded 4K, as opposed to the checkerboarded 4K that you're getting on the Pro.
Yeah. Which again that's more and more positive. So it's just something that something small that I noticed that was pretty positive coming out of the AMA.
So also this week we had the final Iron Banner, which finishes tomorrow, I believe. Did any of you guys get back involved? Did you have some nostalgic games of Iron Banner to remind you of the previous times?
To be honest, I was a bit surprised, and when I thought of it again, I actually wasn't surprised at all that they didn't mark it anyway. Considering it was the last Iron Banner, I thought they might have, extra gear or extra armor sets or
made an event of it.
I think they could have made more of an event of it, but. I played a couple of games, but felt like I want to play Destiny 2.
Sorry, I was just rambling away there. We must have went dead. I didn't go back and play at all. If they had done something, I would have. But to be honest, after the beta, I'm just like,
I can't go back.
But 4 weeks, man. Just 4 weeks. I'm just doing the countdown timer.
I can't go back, and it's what I'm finding it quite refreshing to get stuck into some other games, to give that a go, and just cleanse the palate before we get ready for Destiny 2 to land. It's just so hard to get back.
Totally, yeah. I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 1 and a good bit of Overwatch for the last couple of weeks, so it's kind of... And I a few games that I've just completely missed over the last 2 years that I haven't gone near, so I'm trying to clear the backlog before D2.
Yeah, my gamer score shot up a fair bit in the last
I
couple
saw
of
that.
months.
I saw that.
What have you been playing, Liam?
I was just almost through Metro, the first one, 2033. I've been enjoying that. It's quite good, quite refreshing pace to what Destiny is. And then they're going to crack on with Metro Redux
Nice.
this month before the release. That should keep me quite occupied.
And get you up to speed for that new one, which looks gorgeous.
Indeed, yes. Yeah, that's what kind of was like. I need to play. I remember seeing those games. I was like, I'll play those games, and I just never got round to playing.
And Jason, you said you've been playing Battlefield 1 and Overwatch.
Yeah.
Have you tried Doomfist?
No, I actually haven't, because to be honest, I was playing Overwatch quite a bit, and then I realised I actually spent a fortune on Battlefield 1, and I looked at it. I just came across the hours I've actually played it, and I was like, oh, I really need to put some more time into that to justify the amount of money I spent on it. So I've been playing that a lot for the last 2 weeks.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's so good.
Myself, I've been playing Overwatch, PUBG. I've really embraced my PC side of recent months, so it's been all PC, but it's been Overwatch, PUBG, and Doom. Really, really enjoying Doom. It's great fun. It's so fast paced. But you just can get into a rhythm where you're just constantly on the move. You're jumping, you're turning, you're shooting, you're ducking, you're sliding. You're just constantly moving and changing weapons and blasting these guys, and it's a lot of fun.
Did you do Titanfall 2?
I did Titanfall 1. I didn't do Titanfall 2 because I think it landed in the midst of the Taken King or something around that time, and
yeah, it was a bad release point, I think, because they had Battlefield 1 around about the same time as well, which was a bit confusing.
Yeah, they were sandwiched in between a good few. I've heard great reviews, but I was going to go back to it, but then I saw that the player population for multiplayer is pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I played a little bit recently because I did the campaign last month, and then they've got this like firefight mode, which they've just released, and I didn't seem to have any problems finding those games. I mean, it is relatively new, but yeah, I mean, it's a well engineered game.
Yeah, it's so fast as well. So fast and so much fun. I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it was brilliant. And it was a pity that it hasn't taken off the way I would have liked to see it take off. Because I think it's got huge potential. But yeah, for my PvP fix at the moment, it's been... I have done some PUBG. PUBG is great. PUBG is it's a strange game in that you can have an absolutely phenomenal game where your heart's in your mouth for the whole game, or you can have a game where you just see nobody and get stuck on the wrong side of the map and spend most of your time trying to get across the map into the area that you're supposed to be in, only to be killed by a sniper or get the area restricts around you and you end up running out of health. I think it's the kind of game that would be phenomenal fun with a big gang of guys, but solo it can be very hit and miss.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, Jazz, playing it solo or did you have a group? Because most streamers I've seen playing it, they always seem to have a group of 4 or 5 that they're going around with.
Yeah, with a group it'd be a lot of fun. The thing is, you don't get a vehicle if you don't get the right setup from the start. It can be very, very hit and miss, Sometimes, I went on a game there, I got about 5 or 6 guys, and it was great fun. I mean, it was really, really good fun. Got down to the last 20, but there's games where I've gotten down to the last 10 and 15, and I haven't seen somebody until the last 10 or 15, I've heard them. They've been in the same building as me, but I've been waiting for them to step around a corner so I can hit them with a shotgun, and only they hop out and hop on a bike and disappear. So it's different. The game,
it's that thrill of permadeath.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I want to pick it up and give it a blast because it does remind me of EVE Online a bit, where you die, that's it, you've lost everything. You have to kind of start again. I mean, similar to like EVE, where if you PvP'd and you died, you didn't go to a respawn and then fly back in instant, unless you were rigged for it. I mean, it's like it. It's got that permadeath functionality in it.
You're absolutely right.
It makes it a lot more interesting.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's what makes it really exciting. When you get a good setup, where you get to jump on somebody who has a great setup and you get to rob all of his setup. It's just brilliant. It can be really, really exciting, and it's kind of like, it's very, very sandboxy. So crazy shit can happen the whole time, like guys flying over buildings on motorbikes and stuff, and it's just, or guys trying to run you over and just ended up killing themselves by ramming into a wall or a tree or something. There's all these crazy things that happen. So it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. But
there was one clip I saw the other online where a guy's in a car and he flips the car onto its side,
yeah,
and then there's a squad of 4 that are coming up on his on his left-hand side, and he's still in the car, but they can't see him. These squad of 4 use his car as cover for like having a firefight with another squad. The guys that use his car as cover seem to win that firefight, and then seem to walk along the end. And then he gets out the car and mows them all down. It's just like, yeah, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, it's that craziness that you just don't know what's going to happen in every game. But yeah, the game that keeps bringing me back is Overwatch. I'm just really, really enjoying Overwatch. It's so much fun. Now
I always thought you'd like that game, Jazz, and I was surprised you hadn't picked it up around the launch.
Yeah, I would have a complaint. There was one complaint I have about the competitive side of it. In the competitive mode, if you don't have the right team set up, you've kind of instantly lost the match. If you're going in solo into a competitive queue, and you're not lucky enough to get the right team set up, then that's it. I really think they should have something like they have in the raids in WoW, where you pick by role. So you have a 2-2-2 setup of 2 healers, 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and then
that's a good call. That's a very, very good call.
Then you're in, and then you have a truly competitive mode in it. Whereas at the moment, if I go in, it doesn't, and you see these people saying, "Oh, look, I need somebody to switch to tank, or I need somebody to switch to healer." But you can go in. I don't know if you can do this on the console. You can do this on the PC. You can go in and see that guy's history in the social tab, and you can see what he's played. And if this guy's played only 18 hours of soldier, there's no point asking him to suddenly become a healer. He's never played a healer, or there's no point asking him to suddenly play a tank. He's never played a tank, so he's not going to be any good at it. So you have to get lucky. If you get a lucky team, then. And this is the problem. What usually happens is the other team doesn't get a lucky team. So you either get a lucky team or you don't. If you get a lucky team, you just steamroll over the other guy. If you don't get a lucky team, you don't. And it seems to be much more of an issue, I find, in competitive than it is in the casual game type. So I've been playing it, though. I'm still enjoying it. I'm really enjoying playing Reaper. Reaper is the death-like guy with 2 shotguns. He's great fun. But this week I've been doing a lot of Doomfist, trying to get the hang of it. I'm nowhere near as good with Doomfist as I am with Reaper, but it's still so much fun. When you land those big right hooks and just bounce somebody off of a wall and insta-kill them, it's so much fun. Every time you just get... It's like every time it's one of those, oh my god, I want to record that moments. I have one moment there the other day where it was just a simple thing, but it was this sniper. She peeked twice, and I was Doomfist. I was on the other side of the map, and I was like, I think she's going to peek again in a second. So I started charging up the fist, let it rip. There was no sign of her, and then just at that final second, she pops out to see that fist right in front of her face, and she got smashed into the wall, and that was it, over. And I'm just like, yeah, that's brilliant. I need to record that. It's one punch, but I love it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying that. I also tried the 1v1 mode, which I thought was really clever the way they've done that. And that is that you don't get to choose your character as such. You get a limited choice of one of 3 characters, and if you win, you can't choose that character again anyhow. So then the next round you get another limited choice of 3 characters. So you have to. It's the first to win 4 rounds. But you're forced to play a range of characters. And I found that really good and really exciting. Like, it can be really, really tense and nail-biting when it's just you versus another guy. They have another round as well where it's kind of like it's a bit like Trials, where you have 3v3. There's no resing, there's no respawns, there's no health packs. It's just 3v3, and if you're dead, you're dead. But, again, if you win a round with a character, you can't play that character again. You're forced to play someone else. And I found both those rounds. They're in the arcade mode. I found both those modes really, really fun to play as well.
I found with those game modes I don't know if this is Blizzard's goal with these game modes, but what I found was that it forces people, if you play those game modes, it forces you to play other characters, and it forces you to try out other characters, which I think, going back to your earlier point about people only playing Soldier or only playing Reaper or only playing Hanzo, if they get experience with other characters, then they are a bit more willing to be flexible and change their characters.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for. Except now, this summer, they're doing the Summer Games is back. I think it might be tomorrow even that the Summer Games is back, and they have the main feature in it is a thing called Lucio Ball, which I never played because I wasn't into the game last year, and it's kind of like a football where everybody has to play Lucio. And the big new feature that they're adding in this week is that there's a competitive version of Lucio Ball. So you can have the competitive rank modes, but everyone is playing Lucio. So you don't really get a choice of anything other than that. But apparently it's soccer, like you play soccer, but with Lucio as the players. So I'll have to give that a go and see what it's like. One thing I do like is that every single month there's something new they release. It's either a new character or a new mode or new event. But every single month there's something new, and that's something that I'd love to see. Destiny. That's the kind of cadence I'd love to see coming from Destiny and Destiny 2.
Keeps the community, interested and occupied with new things to do, different stuff to do.
Yeah.
If you've seen a few of the comments from some of the Bungie guys and some of the Activision guys, I think that's kind of been pretty evident. They're fully aware of that they weren't prepared for the demand from the community for new content. I don't think you're going to see as big content gaps as we did with Destiny 1.
Yeah, I certainly hope.
Or at least I hope we don't.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. But yeah, so that's it. They're all my major points. Any other major points for you guys? Any other stuff that you've been doing this week? Any games or any shows or any movies that you've been watching?
Saw Dunkirk. That was really good.
What's it
really
like?
Good. One of the best films. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. One of the best films I've seen for a long time. I mean, it's that typical Nolan time's a main theme for him in most of his films. So like everything that happens on land takes over a place for a week. Everything that happens on the sea takes place over a day. And I think everything that happens in the air takes place of an hour. So it's all these events, some things start to cross over at one point, and then all of a sudden, it comes into the last segment in the film and everything comes clashing together. And it's so cleverly done, it's just brilliant. And it's weird because when we came out, we really couldn't name any of the characters of any of the actors. I mean, apart from Tom Hardy. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, it wasn't a story about that traditional war story where they give a morale speech, and it's a story of people like brotherhood. It's more about these people stuck in a scenario where they're just trying to get out of.
Yeah, no, I saw it over the weekend as well. It's a stunning piece of film, and it's so good. It's just, it's not too long. I think it's just under the 2 hours. I think, or no. Yeah, I think
it's about 2 hours. I think it's about the 2 hour mark. Yeah, and it's just visually and
visually it's brilliant. Audio is the sound is amazing. You can get into it in IMAX. I would highly recommend that just for the sound alone. It's so good. But yeah, it's just you don't notice the time passing. And it's just the movie. It's just relentless. It's just it's overwhelming almost. It's just brilliant. It's honestly one of the best films I've seen in a long time.
Get you in the mood for Battlefield 1 as well?
Luckily, I was already playing it, but afterwards I was like, "This is so good."
Wrong war though.
Oh, yeah. Of course, that's World War II, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the visuals and the audio that it's that constant sense of threat. It's like a storm that's that's coming. You know it's coming, and you can feel it and you can hear it. I mean, at one point I needed the toilet quite badly because I went for a few beers beforehand, and I made the mistake of not going to the toilet before I went in. So I was like, I broke my immersion at like half an hour before, and I was like, shall I go to the toilet? And I had a quick look around, and I have never seen it in the cinema where so many people are fixated, really like involved in the film. People that leaning forward. It's just that. It's really, really immersive.
I'm gonna have to
recommend anyone to go see it.
Definitely
recommend go see it in IMAX. See, that's the best way to see it.
Yeah, definitely. And with any Nolan film, it's visually stunning. Cinematography is brilliant. It's from that side, it's top class, but it's just a very, very good film.
Awesome. Well, look, lads, we're just under the 1 hour mark. Let's probably wrap this here. I'll start with you today, Jason. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at xwarmage, and you can also find me at YouTube under the same name.
Brilliant. And Liam?
You can find me on Twitter, that's X Bring the Pain X, or on YouTube as Bring Space the Pain, both with a 1 instead of an I.
Very good. I'll put all of the both of your links into the show notes, into the description. As for myself, well, you've probably found me here on YouTube on the Mr. Jazz Gaming, but you can also find me on Twitter on the Mr. Jazz Games. So, until next week, so long, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.